Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 73rd session of GURUBODHA. I dedicate this and all of my works at the holy feet of Dr. H. Chandrasekhar Udupa. This class is live for easier the weekly class subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please use this link to subscribe or just visit easyartha.com. You will be seeing options to subscribe there. Let's get into the topics. There are some hot topics. One thing is that is there a need for one single Ayurveda association pan-India, like Indian Medical Associations as to represent the allopathic segment? If yes, then why? And if no, then why? This looks like an Indian specific problem, but it's actually not. For example, in a country like UK or in a country like Canada, there is no single dominant Ayurveda association. And it appears as if the Indian doctors are sort of divided with these associations in India only, but it's not the case. Ayurveda practitioners are also sort of divided into many different groups, many different associations. In US, Canada, in whichever country we have, Ayurveda has presence. So, what's the solution, and why this multipolar behavior happens with our Ayurveda community people? Gururaja sir, your initial thoughts on this, please.
Definitely, if there should be one uniform or single association across India or any nation for a concern. If it is there, then it will be typically a good situation, and all of them will become the member of that association. In that scenario, if anything to be taken as a demand from the community to the government, respective governments, then it will be very, very beneficial. So otherwise, if you have a divided opinion and there are too many number of associations representing us, everybody is claiming to be the Ayurveda Practitioners Association, then any issues arises and the people approach the government. The authority in the government, they have always have a tendency to just sideline the issue by quoting that we don't know who is representing whom, and your request or your consideration is quite contrary to the other association. So better you do one thing. You come out with the one proper application with certain demands which is common to all of you, or else they will keep that both the association in such a way that they will say that we will make a committee and we will form a committee. That committee will look into this matter and the committee will give a report in next 6 months to 1 year. Like that, the issues will be sidelined. If any uniform or one association persists all across to the entire nation, then definitely it will be a good one. But situation is like that everybody wants to become the office bearer, everybody wants to enjoy the authoritativeness, and everybody wants to enjoy the closeness to the governing bodies or the authorities. So there are too many players. Obviously, when we are in democracy, we cannot say that it cannot be done. But ideally speaking, if it is only one association representing Ayurveda doctors across India or any nation for a concern, that will be good. But that will be very, it's a dream. You can say it's a mirage.
Yeah, I second whatever Gururaja sir has rightly said about the need of one group, one voice, where we can take our representation, our need, the happenings, what should happen, what not at the national level. I second sir's thought. So that is a good idea to have. But in India, we have the doctors are scattered into so many groups and also so many opinions. First of all, speaking about the groups, many Ayurveda doctors are there in the teaching institutions as teachers. I have served as a teacher in reputed institutions. So does Gururaja sir and Hebbar sir also. Another group is only practitioners who are practicing. They hardly cross each other's field. There is an intersecting group which practices and also teaches. So there is a group which practices only in the college hospitals because they're not permitted to open the private clinics. They practice within the vicinity of the college campus only. They cannot have individual practice. So that is the rule which has been made by the colleges, the authorities of the colleges. And there are some colleges where people are teaching in the college at the same time going back and they have the liberty to practice. So many varieties of people are there amongst our Ayurveda community doing multiple tasking. And even to add to that, there are people like us who are writing articles, practicing, doing online consultation, teaching in institutions, and also coming into the web platform like this, elite platforms like Easy Ayurveda, GURUBODHA session, sitting with the elite teachers and discussing with Ayurveda enthusiasts and doctors and a lot more people. So having this demarcation to come to one voice. Now, as far as teaching community is concerned, we possibly have one voice. So we have regional institutions to which colleges are affiliated, and a central institute like Ayush or NCISM right now, to which all the colleges are affiliated. So there, one voice from NCISM or the ruling authority will reach all the colleges like the central government. Vayu Tantra Yantradhara, operating like Vayu, managing all the activities in almost all the institutions. And from all the institutions, the feedback will be going to the ruling institution. So this is central and scattered works are being taken place. So there is a network here in the teaching faculty. There is a network. So probably one voice is not there. There also there is a difference of voices, difference of opinions. But at the same time, there is a possibility of a common decision and also a common opinion coming towards the end. So maybe after a few months, maybe after a year or 2-3 years, something will be formulated, which is an cumulative or accumulative voice and opinion of almost all the institutions. That is possible. If the similar thing can be made at the practice level also. So here again, the groups will be segregated. So all Ayurveda doctors coming to one voice is not possible. So because of these different groups where there is no intersection, there is no communication, only when there is CME and some other activities that some practitioner will go to Ayurveda college, some Ayurveda professor will go to the seminars like the World Ayurveda Congress to present the papers. And so there also the practitioners and also the pharmacists we have seen in World Ayurveda Congress. So there are so many stalls where that is a different group. Again, that business particular group of doctors who are into the business of medicine manufacture. So having these groups coming to one voice, yes, as Gururaja sir rightly pointed out, having it as a dream, and if it really comes true, if something and representatives of different states at the central level can sit and sort out this, not an issue. So like sort out this particular dream and try to bring it to the practice. And if it happens in the future coming years, it is well and good. It is a very good option to come out if it happens at all. So having so many categories of Ayurveda doctors scattered among different activities, to bring them is a difficulty. It is not a point of impossibility. So I don't tell it is impossible. It might be possible, but who should take the initiation? Who should bell the cat? From where it should start? How to convince people to sit on a common table and discuss and finish off with a blueprint and put a common signature. So this is the hardships, as many difficulties in the pathway Gururaja sir rightly pointed out. Dream, yes, very good. So to form one team, one voice, but there are many problems to attend and many perspectives to see before we come up to that particular table.
To address the issue that why it happens, like the division and the smaller groups and sort of non-coordination, if I can put that word, between different associations. If I analyze that, one reason could be that still a small and upcoming healthcare segment, at least in the outside India, and everyone wants to have authority over it, that our Ayurveda is the best, or our form of Ayurveda is the best. That feeling is there, and also like dominate the scenario, or dominate the scene, to have early mover advantage. This is a very frequently used business word. That, and Guru sir, can you please add a few causative factors, like why there are different associations? Maybe in the next round we'll come about like how to solve this problem.
See, initially, my approach in answering this question was thinking that it is only with respect to the practitioners of Ayurveda.
Yes, sorry sir. This is for practitioners only. We are
practitioners of Ayurveda. Otherwise, even in IMA also, like Indian Medical Association, it is in a pan-India association. But under there also there is a group of association and subgroups like Surgeons Association is there, Gynecologist Association is there, and even Pediatricians Association is there. There are multiple sub-associations are always there in everywhere. But similarly, in Ayurveda is concerned is, as a practitioner, as rightly pointed out by Dr. Raghuram said, that we have a purely practitioner, we have a purely teacher, and we have a teaching faculty practicing. These three categories are there. Then definitely what happens is, all of them will have their agenda driven as directed towards a certain things, and many times their interest may not match with one another. That is usually we come across that problems. A pure practitioner wants to have something which is only from his perspective, whereas a teacher wants to have the things within his teaching faculty perspective, and one who is trying to cope up with both the things, he wants to have the cake and eat it too. In both the things, he will be doing the thing. So in this fashion, there will be many things, and because of the diversion in the interest, we will have many number of associations, and moreover, there are something like that. I want to become a president. I want to become a secretary of these things. Some priorities that I want to flourish in this group, or I want to have something as a hold on the community for that purposes. And of course, it's a lucrativeness or the other part of the powers. So many things are there. So definitely that groupism naturally occurs. And we are in a country like India. Definitely we will have too many number of diversity, but still we are one.
And see, again, we have discussed these points about the priorities, objectives, groups which are not intersecting, difference of opinions between different groups, the priorities of the selection. See, a person who goes to teaching, I'm not segregating the groups here. I keep telling my girl students, especially in the classroom, that you people should go there because many girls are rank holders, so they have good marks, everything is happening. But how many Ayurveda private practitioners at the hospital level, yes, as duty doctors they're doing, at the private practice levels, we have very less hands, women hands. They're brilliant, but we know that the role of a woman in the society is totally different from that of a man. With due respect, she has to render so many services, thankless services, as I can tell, at home, in the job, and everything. It is very difficult to manage. But at the same time, if women can come out and practice, so that is one group which is lacking here. I keep telling my girl students that if try as best as possible, because if you're here in a classroom of Ayurveda, you are here with a divine intention, your parents' dream, your dream. So it's not to finish off the graduation and not do anything. Please go there and practice. Now, a big group of women, so we can see in most of the colleges, we can see women teaching faculties there. They're practicing in the hospital, but outside there are very hardly we can find women practitioners coming on who are practicing. The girls coming and practicing in their private clinics. I keep telling my students, please do that, because most often than not, a woman client will be very much eager to find a woman doctor, a woman consultant. They'll be very comfortable in explaining their problem. So it doesn't mean if the doctor is a male or a female, but doctor is a doctor. But yes, that stigma is there somewhere in the society that if a woman finds a woman doctor, private practicing doctor, where she can go and express her problems and have a one-to-one discussion, she'll feel it really happy, rather than explaining certain problems. There may be some constraints, some constrictions going to a male doctor and doing that. This may not be related to the question what we are discussing, the question under the agenda right now, but I'll come to that point. So here also, the priority of a girl to not do anything after the graduation or the post-graduation, or most girls or women going and teaching there. So because we can understand why, so we will not scrutinize why, going in the teaching institutions and teaching and not coming out and practicing. So here what we are speaking related to our question or agenda of discussion is the priority of a woman or a girl doctor, who are also as many. I and Dr. Hebbar, we know from Koppa College, one example I am giving, it is always a 2:1 ratio of girls to boys. Like there is 60 intake in the college which we belong to, 40 girls and 20 boys is always the ratio which has been maintained throughout the years. So an institution believes that girl students, more number of girl students, more achievement and more the ranks, more the, so this is not selfishness, but that is a trust factor of an institution on the girls. But where are these girls disappearing after the completion of graduation and post graduation? If not everybody, at least most of them. If they can come to the practice, it will enrich the women practitioners in the society. So that will give comfort zone to many women doctors to go there. I am giving this as an example of the priorities we choose. I may not be very good at practice or the selection of medicine right from the beginning. I will prefer to go and teach in a teaching institution because I can orate in a very good way. I may be a very good speaker. I can convince my students. I don't have the capacity to convince my patients. I have the capacity to convince my students. I have the authority over them, not the authority over. So likewise, the practicing doctors, there are gold medalists and also very brilliant doctors who are only practicing and not teaching in the teaching institutions. I have asked them, you could have also done this by teaching in the teaching institution. Teaching institutions need you people. They said, no, sir. So we did our post-graduation, PhD, everything for the practice purpose only, and not to go and teach in the teaching institution, sitting job from 9 to 6 job and taking the salary and working according to the dictation of the management. So no, we want to come out and practice. Okay. So that is also a priority. So here, due to the priority, different groups have formed. That was the question of Dr. Hebbar. Why groupism? Why different groups have been formed? Because of the priorities we have taken at the earlier stage or the later stage of our graduations, post-graduations and PhDs, that where exactly we are going, which is our comfortable sector, where we will go. Am I strictly a practitioner? Am I strictly a teacher? Okay. Am I both? Do I have both those inclinations where I can satisfy going and teaching in the teaching institution and coming over and practicing in the evening? How do I have a balance sheet of those things? So yes, coming to me, if you take me, so I always loved both practicing and teaching profession. If somebody asks me which is great, which is like 51, which is 49, I will tell no, both are 50-50 for me. But having completed my BAMS and MD in Ayurveda, what am I? I am primarily a doctor and secondarily a teacher. I am not a primarily, otherwise I would have done a B.Ed or M.Ed or something and gone to the teaching profession. I am primarily a teacher, a physician or a doctor. I am authorized to look, have my patients and take care of them and also do consultations, prescribe medications. That is my primary job, and teaching will come as an option, the second option. So I always prefer that the practitioners, if they go and teach the students, that will be a really good perspective, because the students will not only get the theoretical aspect but also the practical approach, how to take these things ahead.
Yeah, and so I mean we know the causes now. Now the symptoms of it, that we touched upon that briefly, that if you do not have a single association, then there are a lot of problems that keep on appearing, and where either the doctors community has to come together and address the issue in one voice, but that is not possible because there are too many associations. Tussles between local associations and groupism, and even I have heard about like harassment of doctors for not being in one particular association but being in other association within the same city. I mean, this is for the Ayurveda doctors, like BMS doctors. And there are like other burning topics, like only allopaths are allowed to give fitness certificate. I think Kerala government issued this notification, and there is no again single voice to represent Ayurveda community and fight for this issue. And Ayurveda doctor allopathic practice in some places like Maharashtra, it is there, and some places it's not there. Whether we should be fighting for this or not is a altogether different issue. But again, we do not have a single voice there. And recently, medical astrology was included in the syllabus, and there were like for and against arguments for that. There's no single voice to represent us in one voice with the government, and torture by authorities for finding some allopathic medicines in the clinics. This keeps on happening. The harassment and the public agony of Ayurveda doctor being disrespected in front of his own patients when these authorities start harassing. And also there is this universal thing. I mean, in India, at least it's common that harassment by the patients themselves, abuse and physical assault, etc. We do not represent together. And spiritual guidelines for inclusion in Ayurveda syllabus. There are many different topics, Gururaja sir, where we need a single voice, and because we do not have a single voice, somehow the progress of the science in the community and in the society and country.
See, totally, it is not to say that there should be only one association. There is no such thing. If it is one association, then representing our voice to the government would be better. That's the only thing. For example, now there is a uniform and all across India there is only one IMA. They are presenting their issues to the government in a very unique voice. But still, they are also facing harassments by the patients. They are also facing problems associated with practice. The laws are applicable to everyone. So it doesn't mean that only association can solve the issues. The issues may be because of the persons, the system, or the government, or the population. So accordingly, we need to design protocol of activities, how we should take it forward. So next thing is, whenever there is a fitness certificate issued by someone is not allowed or something like that, there are so few technical issues in that. Health is a matter of state as per Indian constitution. So state can take certain laws as per its interest. But the curriculum of BAMS is controlled in India till few years back. It was by CCIM and now it is by NCISM. And very categorically they have said a doctor holding a degree of BAMS is entitled to fit to give fitness certificate for any job related things or anything like that. So there is no differentiation they have made. Recently someone has asked through the RTA about these things and the board has very clearly said it is permitted. BAMS doctors are entitled to give fitness certificate, it is valid.
These issues coming up and not being having one voice, hampering the progress of Ayurveda and the BMS community people in single direction, please.
Absolutely, sir. See, these and many other problems can be there. Listed and unlisted problems may be there, but again, see, some things, in spite of having an association or a single voice, it leads. So, for example, harassment by the patients. If we can take that, in spite of having a single voice, so where do we take that voice and how can it be solved? Because this is a customized harassment by the patients. It may be customized, it may be limited to somewhere in Karnataka, somewhere in Kerala, somewhere in Uttar Pradesh. How does a common voice can frame some rules and regulations, how to overcome this harassment and how to avoid this harassment? But the person who is harassing will not abide to those rules. So where the harassment starts, how it starts, where it goes. So we don't have an idea about that. In spite of having a single voice, we can in some rules and regulations where we can shield ourselves. But it's just like I am very cautious while driving. What about the other person who is coming in front of me? He may be not very cautious. He may be rash driving. Still, I'll be the victim. So certain things can be solved by having a single voice and certain things not. As we are speaking about the medical astrology, from a time immemorial, right from our time, most of the, recently also I have seen in the MD Ayurveda questions, question papers. So whether it is this one, clinical or non-clinical subjects, most of the questions are modern questions only. Most of the questions. So where does our education system equipping our Ayurveda? I'm not telling modern education should not be there, modern medicine should not be there, can be there. We have also raised voice many times. Why so much of modern topics in the syllabus? Why so much? So suddenly an appendicitis is introduced into the syllabus and a 20 marks question is given in the question paper. What does an Ayurveda, and you are not allowing him to do an appendicectomy surgery after the completion of MD or something. Now some doctors are doing, that is a different thing. I'm just giving an example. Appendicitis, forcibly we are trying to take some condition from Ayurveda text and trying to correlate it to that particular condition and which dosha is doing what, which dhatu is affected, and trying to do some, frame some medical protocol or the treatment protocol and the blueprint for that. But what about the syllabus? See, when we are speaking about doctors, where those doctors are coming from? They are coming from the institutions. They are coming from the students' chair only, students' desk only. They are graduated and post-graduated from the teaching institutions. They are not doctors just like that. Other than the what we can call it as traditional doctors or paramparika vaidyas, the educated, those who are having a BMS degree and BMS, MD, PhD degrees are coming from the teaching institutions. What is the highest cadre of the educational system, the top tier doing? So the scrutinization of the syllabus is also very, very important. Now there is a subject called as Agada Tantra in Ayurveda. Agada Tantra. What does a person, Agada Tantra deals with some toxicology and other things. What does a person having a MD degree in toxicology or Agaratantra go and do after completion of his MD or after completion of the PhD? And there is an enormous syllabus there, enormous syllabus for Agaratantra. And recently our BMS exam started, Ayurveda exam started, and students have written to me, sir, today there was Agaratantra examination, first examination, thank God it is finished. What does that mean? The toppers of the college are telling, thank God this is finished, this examination is finished. That means that subject was actually a torture. The students don't know. I'm not telling remove it out of the syllabus. The question is what the specialist of Agaratantra will do after going out of the teaching institution having a MD degree and being an Ayurveda physician. He too has to come to the teaching institution and teach or go and practice. So these are some of the limitations which are very, very difficult to handle. And NCISM has definitely taken some steps. Recently, they had sent a big questionnaire to the teachers how each and every subject should be modulated, how each and every subject should be edited. So how Charaka Samhita, how better it should be made for the students, how Sharira Rachana should be better made for the students, what is its utility. After passing that particular speciality, are they entitled to practice? What are the limitations? These questions were given to the teachers. This is a good attempt, I should tell. But what is the summary? What is the outcome? We need to wait and see. So in spite of having a single voice and single agenda, everything, certain things can be solved and certain things cannot be solved. But if we can try to solve at least 6 out of 10 problems, common problems we have from a single voice, that group will definitely have its value. This is what I feel.
Yes, sir. And like rightly you said, government, particularly NCISM, and we always, anything and everything, we ultimately blame government. To be honest, and to see it from outside, NCISM is doing it an incredible job, year by year, taking steps to course correct and to improve syllabus. And I think this year for the first year introductory thing, there is some new program where Ayurveda performers from very different Ayurveda segments are brought into the colleges and have
that is called as a transitional curriculum, Dr. Hebbar.
Exactly.
And transitional curriculum, sorry for interrupting, that is one big initiative. Not only this year, right from the last year itself, they have started transitional curriculum where they're entertaining different people, different Ayurveda practitioners, and also the teachers from different institutions. So this is a very good crossover. Like the students freshly enrolling into Ayurveda will not be knowing absolutely anything about Ayurveda. When experts are speaking over a period of 3 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they're giving for transitional curriculum. If the experts from different corners are coming and speaking directly into the college or through the media or through the online lectures, and also the students are definitely motivated, and that will give a good kick start for their BMS career. So these many activities are coming, promotional activities are coming from the central government and also the higher authorities. They are taking steps. Yes, very important is the summary, what we get, summary or the outcome we get after next 10, at the end of next 10 years. So that may be the route map to formation of one voice, one group, where we can solve 6 out of 10 problems, at least 6 out of 10 common problems which we all have as practitioners.
Next question is how to solve this problem of different organizations and bring everyone under one umbrella. Do you have any solutions, Gururaja sir, please?
Yes, it is possible. We can make a federation of associations, make a common platform of all the things, and take a representative from each association, and we will be approaching the government with respect to any issues which pertains to our community. Then we will approach through the federation of association platform, and we can do the things in that way. That can be done. It is usually created very easily. It can be done, but somebody should be convener who can convene all these associations and their heads together on a common platform. If that is achieved, this can be done easily.
Who do you think can do that, sir, or take the lead in this case?
Yeah, so that's a difficult question, Dr. Hebbar. I would love to take this question. Me, Gururaja sir, you, anybody. So we never know where the thought process comes from. Anybody can take a lead. The idea is a seed. From there, where the plant comes out, Gururaja sir has made wonderful points. See, I feel the pooling will be very important, but every state should have a group first and a leader, and all those people should be connected to a common route. like many branches connecting to a common route. Every state let it have first of all the Ayurveda practitioners let them. So like in Bangalore, so all the doctors getting together and speaking about that, getting connected to doctors in Mysore, doctors in Davangere. So at different district levels, let them form groups, all let them pool together and make a big CME where they can discuss about these things at least one day or half a day and come to some conclusions. One group inspire the neighboring state to do the same thing. We are doing these things, come on the media, keep on posting, let us form a common group, we build up a big chain. So having social media in our hand is the biggest tool nowadays, and create a pool and inspire the neighboring states, neighboring districts, everybody to do these things, pooling small pools. Let us bring together and make it a big ocean. I think that is a big task. But still it is a distant possible task. It takes a lot of time, but it's not impossible. Anybody can be a leader. So whoever gets this idea and keeps up pumping people, inspiring people in and around can be a leader. Who knows, tomorrow me, you, or Gururaja sir, anybody, after this particular discussion, the thought process shouldn't stop here, and if we can take it ahead, so that will be and I'll be very glad if Easy Ayurveda can do this.
Yes, sir. This is a very interesting topic that you're discussing, how Ayurveda can be brought to mainstream, because even the specialists or the medical scientists do not believe that Ayurveda is a legitimate modality. And this is, I think it's a all-pervading thought among the mainstream medicine folks. And they do not allow people to practice Ayurveda alongside allopathy, despite the fact that I've heard allopathy doctors say that you can still do it. So there seem to be a lot of education that needs to be done of the educated medical society. And they say Ayurveda cannot be practiced because it has not been well researched. I'm a clinical research professional, and I can clearly see how it cannot be, you cannot conduct clinical trials for Ayurvedic medicine because this is a personalized one. And to do a clinical trial, you need a homogeneous population. Otherwise, you'll be comparing apples to oranges. So that's one aspect I wanted to say. The second thing is about the one voice that you all are discussing, convincing the government to provide more funds for Ayurvedic research could be one of the topics that can be brought into the One Voice group. And the third thing, Dr. Shastri was talking about involving women. So talking from a women's perspective, the reason why I feel that women are not going into practice is because they lack the communication skills. And let me tell you, I have suffered from that a lot, the lack of communication skill. And this is something I just had to learn the hard way and develop myself. And I'm wondering if, sir, that you consider including communication skills in the curriculum of Ayurveda so that people can talk about it. Because one other thing that I have noticed is when I talk to Ayurvedic doctors, they are so awed by the Western science and they say, oh no, we cannot compete with them. I mean, this is maybe not from the larger institutions of Ayurveda, but a lot of them say, they will just push us away. What do we do? So that kind of helplessness is, I think, hurting Ayurveda, which is such an excellent modality that needs to be brought into the mainstream medicine today.
Well said, madam. Moving on, I mean, regarding the funding aspect, Government of India is doing what and all it can. This article from PIB Government Institute only, that budget 22-24 gives major emphasis on increasing Ayush services and scientific research. And I think 3-4 years before also, when government had allocated few funds, it was underutilized by the institutes, and the funds went back.
See, we have a huge set of problems, not only in the teaching community or the faculty or practitioners, even the people, administrative work, people who are sitting in the Department of Ayush, and in that, or previously it was the Department of Indian System Medicine. Many times we used to get a chunk of or a little bit of funding from the government allocation. At the end of the year, even that allocation was not utilized and sent back to the government. This is what we have seen so many years back, and that was the situation. And now at least we are coming out with more and more programs of popularizing Ayurveda to the masses. We are taking it to the masses through various programs. And now after the government of India's emphasis on promoting Ayurveda just like yoga, now there is a lot of enthusiasm among the world to accept it. And when it comes to people commenting on that Ayurveda is not well researched, it needs to be researched. I would like to say one thing. The counterpart, they have done a very good research. They have done very good. For everything, they have introduced a drug to the market. After 5 years or 10 years, why the drug has been withdrawn from the market, quoting some side effects or some untoward reasons. If your drug was well researched, then why you are withdrawing it? So this needs to be taken into consideration. Ayurveda has been there in this world since time immemorial. We don't know when it started. And even with the onslaught of all these modern tools and kits and medicines and even perspective, still Ayurveda is thriving. It itself suggests that it is a very vibrant and lively science, and it has got its typical fundamental principles, and we should know the principles to understand what Ayurveda is. Then we can think of what type of research can be done. Just trying to bring Ayurvedic principles in terms of westernized or the English terms to understand things, it may not be a research, but it is just a different orientation to the community or the scientific community. So many times it is so happens that people think that something which is reproducible, something which is done in the modern lines, they are the only scientific things. But how can it be you are trying to do a scientific study on an animal, and once the result is there, you are trying to prove it on the human being? How can we accept that human being and animal are not one and the same? So there are certain issues are there with that. People are holding it as a world accepts it, but these perspectives will always tend to change once the growth and the propagation and the acceptance of Ayurveda starts among the public. Automatically, people will, even the governments will modify and change these acceptance and improve things will improve in a better way.
Yeah, and similar line of thoughts put forth by Carol Willis. It's possible to be too scientific to the point where personal insights and caveats are eliminated. This is so very true. And I've seen in social media and all, whenever some Ayurveda doctor puts up clinical success case, it is told that, oh, it is just a solitary incident. There is no research behind it. It's just like somehow by accident, or it's just a solitary thing, and it's anecdotal. There's no scientific research behind this. That takes away the power, and Ayurveda is becoming more popular among naturopathy and integrative type of medical professionals and health coaches in US, which is a very good thing. And scientific research is designed to eliminate bias, but in so doing eliminates consciousness and insights. Very good put words there.
I only feel about the point you rightly mentioned, and Vasantaji also mentioned, Gururaja sir also gave a clarification. This is a point of insecurity, point of competition. From the other sciences, they are seeing Ayurveda as an enriched science which is going in a different direction, which can reach its summit in a few years. A lot of work is going on, not that scientific work or the scientific approach is not going on. I would like to tell, so there is a lot of competition, insecurity and fear about Ayurveda. That is one thing which is pulling the things down. And very importantly, in Ayurveda community itself, we have overconfident guys, underconfident guys and in-between guys. So this is another big threat, and the Ayurveda population who don't have belief in our own system, that is another group. So these things are big hindrances. And when we are speaking about the scientific approach, the P4 medicine, which is very popular now, predictive, preventive, personalized and participatory medicine. Ayurveda was thousands of years ago. Ayurveda had P4 medicine. Everything we had predictive medicine, we have preventive medicine, personalized medicine, participatory medicine. We will leave away everything. Nowadays, modern medicine has come to the point of participatory medicine. The patient also has to participate equally in the healing process. Chikitsa Chatuspada was long back mentioned in our Brihatrayis itself, not mentioning about the other texts. So, where a physician, the patient, that is the health provider, health seeker, the medicine, and the caretakers, the nursing staff, or the caretakers at home, were all involved in the healing process equally, 25% each. So the participatory medicine was always there. So the modern science is coming with new theories which were already there in Ayurveda. Nothing is new to Ayurveda. If we go through the Ayurveda science and also the basics given by the earliest Samhitas, including the Charaka Samhita, So we can find a lot of basics embedded in them. Plenty of basics of life science, preventive medicine, curative medicine, everything. Ayurveda was the first science to advocate both a personalized approach and a generalized approach towards treating of any disorder, like a Vishishta Chikitsa and Samanya Chikitsa. Where we don't have scientific approach, we have scientific approach. Aptopadesha or Shabda Pramana or the Ayurveda treatises itself have been considered as time tested, which do not require any research. Ayurveda. So what we do is, since we are evolving, we need to see that from a modern perspective, from a scientific angle, and from a scientific lens. That is why we are trying to do that, only to prove that Ayurveda is scientific. So what is the greatest proof? The greatest proof is a disease which you cannot treat and I can treat is the greatest proof. The relief which you cannot provide, I can provide is the greatest proof. What else is scientific? Having a scientific proof and not being able to give a cure or relief, what is the worth of such medical science? Ayurveda, I think, in terms of giving relief or preventive cure or curative cure, is much way ahead than in comparison to. This is not an emotional statement. So because it is my personalized experience, and I guess even Dr. Hebbar, Dr. Gururaja sir, all Ayurveda doctors who are practicing here will definitely agree to this. So we have seen quite a lot of success in comparison to the other sciences, in comparison to all compartments of treatment.
Yes, sir. And Vasantaji writes, Ayurveda is scientific but does not follow the concepts of Western science, and the Western research methodology makes no sense with Ayurveda because it works on a different mechanism. The scientific research method has to match the mechanism of the modality of the science of Ayurveda. Well taken there. So at least we have discussed this in many different dimensions. So to moving on to another current event or an article, there's an article called as Hardship of a Career in Ayurveda Practice, which gained a lot of debate and which was having a lot of controversial and contradictory things. The article starts with like, practice does not seem to be a feasible career option for most Ayurveda graduates. For a few idealists who consider this option, hardships awaiting them are many. It makes like too many assumptions, unwanted assumptions, and starts right out of the gate with a negative tone. Gururaja sir, please.
See, of course, any system or anything, even after engineering course, the people will not get easy money. Only the creamy layer, and that will they'll get a very good packages. Otherwise, they will also have to sit on the benches for years together to earn a good thing. They can go for some startups, but there are a lot of hardships and a lot of struggle and challenges ahead. Similarly, the things will be there with Ayurveda practice also. The reason may be many. The reason may be the patient's community is not well versed with or are not accepting the Ayurveda in emergency situations. That's the point number one. Secondly, even students, when they come to Ayurveda fraternity, to the students, they will also entering Ayurveda when they didn't get the seat in MBBS. Just they want to cross over to the medical stream. If this is not available, let me go to that. And many people will approach with this mentality. And in teaching colleges, there are some substandard colleges where the sufficient student will not be exposed to the clinical subject, the clinical equipments, and even to the patients and their treatment modalities. So they will not be having a pratyaksha pramana to understand what exactly being told in Ayurveda. So these are the multiple issues at various levels that have become an hindrance in practice. And whereas in Ayurveda practice, we need to have a lot of things to be considered, like Agni, Rogabala, Rogibala, Vaya, Kala, Rutu, so many things, Dosha, Prakriti. Once you set up your treatment area or a clinic or an hospital in a decent thing with minimal infrastructure, but it should be quite economical and friendly to the patients, their approach, everything. Then start doing advertisement or propaganda, whatever the way it is been abided by the law, which should be promoted and what should not be. Then start conducting free medical camps, something like that. Then slowly the things will set up. Even the other medicine people also will not get the number of popular people will approaching them in a very simple day or a few months. It is not possible. Even the double degree holders or even the DM medicine, when they approach to a hospital, they stay there and they send messages and they conduct CMEs. They'll attract the people and attract the other doctors, ask them for references. So many things they also do it. So it will not be a person that simply saying that to see how that fellow is practicing, his package is 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. So that things will come by experience. That thing will always, it cannot come as a very thing. So in the initial stages, every system has its own ups and downs, its own challenges and opportunities. But one who is quite confident enough about his knowledge as well as his skills and the things he has developed, as well as even the anugraha of Lord Dhanvantri, definitely he will kickstart the things and the things will settle down in a rosy way.
Raghuram sir, though it is little difficult initially for an Ayurveda practitioner to be successful, at least in the initial few months, self-improvement or in terms of knowledge, in terms of communication, in terms of a little bit of marketing, always updating himself, what to speak, what not to speak, and coming back to our participation in associations, CMEs, etc. It's not that hard with 1 or 2 years of efforts, right, sir?
Right, sir. So passion and confidence, these two are very important. Passion, if you are not passionate about your science, practice does not seem to be a feasible career option for most Ayurveda graduates. Wrong. I totally disagree with this, as Gururaja sir was also telling. Totally disagree with this. It's not about idealists or something. It is the first and the foremost option. Otherwise, we would have all sat in the house and we would not have a GURUBODHA session or discussing Ayurveda on Easy Ayurveda platform. We would not have, in fact, Easy Ayurveda at all. So this is, then why do we have a course? Why do we have, just take a graduation and sit at home and write some books and do something or do some other job? No. So just like the person who is doing engineering goes into the goes ahead and becomes an engineer, and somebody doing a particular related course and becomes that. So that is a choice. So here, if you're coming to Ayurveda into the BMS class, you already know that I finished my graduation and I will be a doctor tomorrow. Then what else for you are coming to that particular science? What else your parents are spending so much of money and sending you to a course, BMS or even future MD, PhD? Why we are doing? This is only to practice and do something related to the Ayurveda, whether it is research or pharmacy or practice or teaching or everything. So I totally disagree. As the question was raised, initially it may be a difficult task. Yes, who doesn't face difficulty? In every job, every profession, there are initial hindrances and initial difficulty. But if you are passionate enough, and if you're very confident enough that I am here to become an Ayurveda doctor and I am going to do this, you will search ways of mastering yourself, searching different ways and methods of mastering ourselves and going in the same pathway, not getting disturbed by the hindrances, not getting disturbed by the people who are trying to stop you. Okay, so as it is said, no, jab log tumhare khilaf bolne lage, samjho tarakki kar gaye. So when people start speaking against you, you should take it as a positive compliment and try to see, yes, this is not a hindrance for me. I'm going to travel in the same pathway and achieve the best. If not tomorrow, it is day after tomorrow. If it is not day after tomorrow, some other day will be yours. So that passion is very important. The love towards your science is important. So that right from the day one of entering into the course, the student should be given that particular confidence. Here the teacher's role is very, very important, not single teacher. All the teachers' role is very important in their life. The confidence should be given. Tomorrow, you fellow, you are going to go there and you are not going to dissect a body, you are not going to go to the lab and measure the chemicals, but you are going to do, you will do anatomy, you will do physiology, you will do Dravyaguna, you will do Rashastra, everything. At the end of the day, you are going to go there and become an Ayurveda doctor. So that is why you are here. That is why you have to get graduated. So this is the first and foremost option, and that is why we are here.
Thank you there. Yeah, I mean, like that, even if you want to complain, we can keep on complaining, and if you want to find solutions, we can always do. And there's a question on, in India, there is considerable exposure to Ayurveda. Why not have a school of syllabus that has good marriage between allopathy and Ayurveda? And government is considering, again, there are for and against arguments to it, probably a topic for the next class. Guru sir, top 5 advice for a new Ayurveda doctor.
Persistency is one of the things, as well as patience. So if you have patience, persistence and perform, definitely you will end up in success. Definitely these 3 things are very, very important, and you need to give results. Once you start giving results, automatically there will be word of mouth advertisement and people start flocking to you.
There's widespread skepticism in the public mind about the soundness of Ayurveda theories. Nobody cares about Ayurveda theories. I mean, the public doesn't care about Ayurveda theories. Public cares whether the fruitfulness is there or not. Rightly told by Gururaja sir, if you perform and the result is there in front of you, patient will line up. They do not care about Tridosha or whatever theory that is there in the minds of Ayurveda doctor.
So I've already said those things. The golden words are be passionate and love your science. Very importantly, have confidence and keep updating yourself what is going in and around you, and be enriched in your theoretical and practical aspects, what to choose and what not to, and your limitations. And yes, one word used by Gururaja sir, patience. Have patience. If not tomorrow, there is a day after tomorrow. If not day after tomorrow, there is some day which belongs to you. Keep doing your work, keep consistent, keep doing, and stick on to your job. Don't get diverted, don't get fluctuated, don't lose your confidence. So you are on the hot seat. Once you finish your graduation, post-graduation, you come to your practice, you are on the hot seat. You're going to meet quite a lot different peoples with different mentalities. Practice is not an easy art. So it is an art which needs to be gradually graduated and also mastered and perfected with time. So the patience is a very key factor. Along with that comes passion, love towards your science, confidence, and how you approach and keep yourself updated.
There is a question on for people living abroad learning Ayurveda. Can you provide internships in India? Yes, we do that. We provided such an education for like 40 plus students, live patient interaction and case studies and hands-on panchakarma training, etc. We provide that. Please write to me at hebarjav@gmail.com. I will guide you through that. By the grace of God, we are being given this precious gift of Ayurveda in our hands. Every science develops in a way that we take that forward. So each one of us have a great responsibility and an opportunity to mold the future of ourselves and the Ayurveda scenario within India, outside India, and opportunities are endless.
I would like to add one point here, just a flash in my mind. Recently, I listened to an audio clipping. A person from Indian origin, settled in America, is from an entirely different stream. He's telling about the Ayurvedic concepts in a different terminology. So that's what the thing. Then after hearing to him, I understood that where we lack in promoting ourselves, we lack in our own promotions. He was telling about green and nanotechnology, where he is trying to explain the nanoparticles of gold and silver and how they carry the material into the smallest cells and how the things will help in curing the condition and how it is supporting the system. So many things he was claiming, and he is telling he was the first person. But unfortunately, Ayurveda Rathikasra is full of that nanotechnology and so many basmas and all those things which has been told by our acharyas long back, but we are unable to express it. And even many of the Ayurvedic community and even the Ayurveda people will feel very, fear to consume Shastra medicines, saying that no metal and minerals. But he was telling very typically in a different perspective.
We'll have a topic on like Rasastra, nanotechnology, and Ayurveda to settle this issue once and for all, because everybody claims that it is their invention. In the next session of Gurubodha next week, Namaste.